Welcome to Seaway Whiskywire. Tonight on the bar, we've got the Elijah Craig Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Stay tuned. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming back after the intro there. I'm Tyler, and tonight on the bar, we've got the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. But before we get into the specs and history of the bottle, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my American viewers out there. Happy 4th of July. Hopefully you guys are having a great time with family and friends celebrating your independence. And if you're just tuning in to have a dram with me, hopefully you got some Elijah Craig or some other bourbon. You want to pour that and drink along with me, please do so. I encourage it. It makes life a heck of a lot better for you on the other end, and I enjoy you guys drinking along with me. So what can I tell you about Elijah Craig as a distillery? Well, Elijah Craig is tied to the legendary Baptist preacher Elijah Craig and is celebrated as one of the foundational sites in the history of bourbon. Elijah Craig, who moved to Kentucky from Virginia, is often credited as a pioneer in the practice of aging whiskey in charred oak barrels. And in 1789, he established his distillery in Georgetown, Kentucky, which became renowned for producing high-quality bourbon. Though historical records and actual details about Craig's operation of the original distillery are very sparse, his name has still become synonymous with bourbon heritage, and today Elijah Craig brand, who is owned by Heaven Hills Distillery, honors the legacy of modern distillery located in Bardstown, Kentucky, and continues to produce bourbon using traditional methods, celebrating Craig's innovation spirit and contribution to the American whiskey industry. And you know, guys, these are a major player down in the U.S. This actually was a bottle that was sent out to me from my buddy, the Whiskey Shaman. So, you know, thank you very much, Whiskey Shaman, for sending me this bottle to enjoy and review. I will say I am enjoying it, but without ruining too much of my review here, we'll get into the specs on the bottle of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. So the batch that I actually have here is batch A123. I know, pretty easy to remember on that one there. It says 12 years of age and non-chill filtered right in the bottle, which I can appreciate that for sure. And the mash bill comes in at 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% barley, matured in virgin oak, but charred oak barrels as well. And it comes in at 125.6 proof or 62% ABV. So with that, we'll get into the presentation on the bottle of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. I am a big fan of this bottle. I think it's great. I love the size of it. It's like a Woodford Reserve bottle, but a little less boisterous and doesn't take up as much room on the counter, which I like, or the shelf. And it has got to have one of the best corks going. It's so satisfying to pop the top on this cork. It's got a nice area to grip onto it, and I really like it. Where it doesn't lack, though, I would say it lacks a little bit in information. So there isn't a whole lot of information on the bottle. Yes, it does tell us here that it's aged for 12 years, non-chill filtered, but that's pretty much it. It gives us the batch, it gives us the ABV and the proof, but there's really not a whole heck of a lot going on anywhere else on the bottle. So from a marketing standpoint, I just wish it would give us a little bit more on the bottles with respect to either a little bit of lore of the distillery or Heaven Hill Distillery or whatever the case may be, but just, you know, give us something a little bit more. Other than that, bottle design gets a pass, information of the bottle gets a fail. With that, let's get into the pour on the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. There's that wicked barrel pop again. Cork pop, pardon me. We'll take a look at the color of the liquid in there. So I'm going to come in close here and show you guys, but it's a very, very deep, rich orange, almost a little bit of brown to it as well. It's very reminiscent of like when I think of like a chocolate orange kind of color. Like if you could liquefy chocolate orange, what it would look like? I think something along those lines for sure. All right. Let's get on to the nose here of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof and see what we can get on the nose. So let's dive into it. It's very rich flavors on the nose. It does attack a little bit with that alcohol burn, but not a whole lot. It doesn't singe your nose hairs, but you do get a little bit of an alcohol burn on the nose a little bit there. But I'm getting some vanilla. It was prominent vanilla, some brown sugar for sure, some toffee. There's a little bit of citrus notes on there. Maybe more orange than lemon or lime. I'm getting some nutmeg as well and some cinnamon. and maybe a little bit of marshmallow, like toasted marshmallow. Very nice. All right, well, let's get into the taste on the Elijah Craig barrel proof and see what we can come out with the taste. So cheers, happy 4th of July to my American viewers, and let's dive into it. So right out the get-go, it packs a punch. I'm getting rich flavors, demerara, brown sugar, very rich brown sugar. There's toffee, the vanilla is in there too. You get that cinnamon, that cloves, nutmeg on there too. You get that oak. There's something else in there. Almost like a field berry. It's like blackberries, like freshly picked blackberries that you get out in the bush. And maybe some dried currants in there too. A little bit of dried currants, the bitter dried currants. And maybe a little bit of orange on the back end there too. So very much rich vanilla, brown sugar, toffee, caramel, and then it goes down and you get the oak hug with some cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg, and then the tail end is this fruitier, like dark currants, blackberries, and a little bit of orange. It's very transformational, very complex for a bourbon, and I'm quite enjoying it. It does pack a fairly good punch and a wallop with that 62.8%. I have added water to this in the past. I find it opens it up a little bit more. You really get those oranges and those field berries a little bit more prominently, and you kind of takes away from like that kind of spice edge to it there of the cloves and the cinnamon and the nutmeg. But for today I'm not adding water to it, and I actually prefer to drink it neat. But you can definitely add water to it to open it up a little bit. So with that, we'll get into the finish on the Elijah Craig barrel proof. It's a very long finish for a bourbon. Like I've still got that little bit of bitter currants on my tongue there, and it's full flavored, just with all those transformational pieces to it. And it's sweet and spicy. You get those, like I said, those nice bourbon notes, those brown sugars and caramel and toffee and vanilla. You get that nice oak hug to it there into this nice spice, and then you get those berries at the end. Very, very nice, very, very complex, and being a barrel proof bourbon, it definitely shines. I really, really, really enjoy it, and honestly probably one of the best bourbons I've ever had, hands down so far in my journey. But just this is a good indication of what bourbon can be when you get away from like the just the vanilla oak. Boom, this has got some complexity to it, this has got some more flavors to it, this has got some transformation to it, and it's a nice long rich dram for sure. But with that, let's get into the value proposition. So in my area, hard to get. Looks like we used to be able to get this for about 130 bucks Canadian, if you can find it. Rich, full flavored dram, long lasting flavor. You can stretch it if you want to put some water in it. It's not for the faint of heart. This is a full fledged boom heavy hitter. But if you're into that kind of stuff, you're gonna love this. I really, really enjoy this. Getting more into cask strength whiskeys, I really, really enjoy that extra punch. I love the control I have if I want to add some water to it and whatnot. But to me, this is a great example of what bourbon can be, and I'm hoping to try some more excellent bourbons in the future. And this has got me excited. This is, I've had a couple other ones that are fairly, not, I wouldn't say always forgettable, but definitely, one trick pony again. Vanilla, oak, done. This has got some legs to it. This has got some complexity to it. This has got lots of flavors. This has got lots of stretch to it, and I really, really, really enjoy it. So again, thank you to the Whiskey Shaman for sending this over to the channel for me to enjoy and to review. I really appreciate it. And if you like what we're doing here at Seaway Whiskey Wire, you guys know that drill. Like and subscribe down below. And don't forget to check me out on Instagram at seawaywhiskywire. If you guys are still hanging around, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this far along. Really appreciate it. This is a great little gig for me. I enjoy bringing this content to you and putting it together. And I hope I can get some more high quality bourbon in my future to wet my whistle and really get my interest up. So I'll leave you with that. Cheers to your health. Happy 4th of July to my American viewers, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.